Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst movies of all time and talk about them. Today is a bonus episode chatting all about another one of the films premiering at FrightFest this very weekend. My name is Ben Errington and I'm joined by Carlota Pereda, the director of Piggy, which has its UK premiere at FrightFest in London on Monday the 29th of August, which is tomorrow. How exciting. I'll just quickly give you an introduction, Carlota. So Carlota Pereda is a film and TV director from Madrid in Spain. She started her career in television and was nominated for the Television Academy's Iris Award for Red Eagle. Her short films The Blondes and Piggy have screened at numerous national and international festivals, with the latter winning over 90 awards. Piggy is her first feature film and screened at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival. Welcome to the show, Carlota.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
No problem at all. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us today. I really do appreciate it. Congratulations, first off, on Piggy.
Thank you so much. We're quite proud of her.
Yeah, and so you should be. Before we get started, I'll just read out some details on the film so our listeners can be up to speed with the movie. So just a brief synopsis. Not everybody loves the summertime. For overweight teen Sara, it means dealing with a constant barrage of mockery, judgment, and abuse from the cool girls. But today is different. A mysterious man arrives in the village and kidnaps her tormentors. Someone has finally stood up for her. Sara sees it all and the unknown man has seen her too. It's a wordless pact that neither will betray as a series of crimes rock the village and the fingers of suspicion are pointed in every direction. That kind of sums it up.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. But obviously there's so much more to it. There's so many more sort of themes that are prevalent. And it's something that makes it a very unique film, especially for a unique film to be screening at FrightFest. I think when I was made aware that I was able to review a lot of the films that were screening, this was the very first film that I went for, because it was the one that I'd seen had premiered at premiered at Sundance, and I'd seen various other promotional materials as well. And I thought, for me, it looked like the most interesting film screening at the festival, so I had to take a look. So first of all, can I just no problem at all. Can I just ask, for our listeners who may not be familiar with your work, what is your filmmaking background, apart from, of course, what I just read out in terms of the short films and everything? How did you get started, and what drew you to, I guess, horror and genre filmmaking?
Well, for me, I always wanted to be a storyteller since I was a very young girl. Before I knew how to write, I used to dictate my dad's stories, and I would get really angry when he read them back to me, and it was not exactly how I said. So when I found out what directors were and what screenwriters did, I decided I want to be that. I didn't know which one, so I guess I just ended up being both. So and I started working. I didn't had any connections to get into TV, and so when I went to film school very early later on, because there was no way to study film in Spain. There was no way in the industry. So when they opened the film school in Spain and I got in, I got a job very soon in TV before I finished film school. And film school is expensive. So I ended up dropping out to start working in TV. So I started working in TV. I did Red Eagle, as you say, which is a ninja show, amongst other things.
What kind of show? What kind of show did you say?
Red Eagle is a ninja show. It's a ninja for the 16th century.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow.
And I also did cop shows, comedies, everything you can imagine. But someday I decided that I was not doing it for the reason why I got into filmmaking, which was to find my own voice and tell my own stories. So I made my first short film, which was called The Blondes, which is a comedy thriller. And after that, I did Piggy, the short in which the movie is based, which is, I guess you can say that is horror. And after that, I did another short. And I think I'm really happy within the genre perspective, because it can be freer. And I like to be able to explore themes, and also form thematically, and also make something that it can be very entertaining at the same time, And what we say, we make popcorn, but it is poison popcorn.
Okay. So I mean, I guess having experience from various different genres, obviously thriller and comedy and everything else you just mentioned, how do you think that helped you? I mean, do you think you found your voice now in terms of this genre, in terms of horror? Is this what you think your voice is?
I think my voice is a mixture of everything, which is
Mm.
the way life is. I mean, I'm not happy when there is no comedy involved because I cannot take myself too seriously.
Okay.
and
Okay.
I guess that every time I see something that is too serious, I think there's always an element of fakeness to it. I can't help it, and that's
Mm.
the way I see life. So I guess that if there's some comedy, you can say there is something of me behind it.
Yeah, I guess it feels more rooted in reality, doesn't it, when there's comedy? Because that, yeah, personalities are very complex, and they should come out in sort of filmmaking and stuff. Yeah.
There's some kind of absurdity in life that I think there's
Yeah.
always there.
That is a great point. Exactly. Yeah. So I guess obviously Piggy did start life as a short film, but how was translating and adapting that content into a feature length movie?
Well, it was when the thing is, I fell in love with the conflict. The main lead conflict. It was too great to let go. So I just decided to explore it further and follow her lead and try to be as honest to her journey as I could.
Mm,
Not to try to force ideas that I wanted into it or what I thought would work. I just
mm.
try to forget everything I learned from TV in order to make this and make it as irrational as possible, as be more passionate about it, and just follow what my gut said was the truth.
Hmm. So when you made the short, did you feel like the short was already a part of a bigger story that needed to be told?
Not at the beginning. Not at the
Okay.
beginning. It was by the last days of shooting that we were shooting the last scene we shot was the kidnap, and I was with one of my friends who is he's the one who did the costume for the short, and also he's gonna work in my next feature, and with he said, well, this is just a movie, man. This is just a movie. It's like a movie. And I said, it is actually the conflict of a movie. And I realized then that it was actually what I wanted to follow through. That it was so exciting. It was felt like a waste not to
Mm.
find out what went on after that.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think I agree though. Yeah, the conflict definitely felt like something that sort of suited a
Hmm.
feature length movie because the short came out in 2018. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So it was
exactly.
only a few years between that and then the shoot, which took place in 2021. As far as I'm aware, it took place in Villanueva de la Vera. Um,
Exactly.
so what was the thinking behind choosing that location for the film?
Well, I wanted to be in Extremadura because, well, the short is also shot there in the same place, but because visually it's amazing, and also it's almost trapped in time. You can find it's modern, but at the same time, the cars are like 30 years old. So it kind of has the thing that it can be translated to teenagers nowadays, but also to people that are not so young and think of their summer vacations. And had that air also that is Extremadura is a bit like Texas, but in Spain. And
Yeah.
we used to joke in while we were shooting the movie that in Extremadura no one can hear you scream.
Okay. Yeah. When you say
Yeah.
Texas there, I mean, I definitely got some Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. Maybe it was like the sun-bleached sort
Hmm.
of horror taking place in daylight, and especially in daylight where it's an
Hmm.
incredibly bright summer's day. There's something genuinely quite unnerving about that, which was,
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And also in summer and with the heat and the sweat, bodies are really present. You can't escape your body in summer. You may do it in winter, you're cozy at home and you can get into your head, but when you're in summer, it's like, oh my God, it's always
yeah.
present.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how was that experience of shooting somewhere with, as far as I'm aware, I mean, feel free to correct me, but it's quite a small population, Villanueva de la Vera, is that correct?
It is very small. It is very small. It also helps the sense of claustrophobia for a character, like she
Hmm.
cannot escape her reality anywhere. And the thing is that the whole village got involved in the movie. Most of them, well, all of the extras are locals. Some of the actors are locals. And for me, it was some kind of way of having more realism to the story. I love the way, Stephen King uses Americana. It's always Maine, and it's always very real, of people that you can think of and that that really exist. And that's what I wanted to do with the movie. That people, especially people who've been in Spain, know this is the way it is. We're not making this up. We may have something that is a bit out there in the story, but the characters and the setting is absolutely real.
Yeah. I mean, that was my next question. I was going to say, did any of the locals have a particular interest in the process? But clearly, I'm assuming that not many feature films get made there. So I guess it was quite an event.
It was the first time, yeah, absolutely.
First time.
It was quite fun because we have Carmen Machi, she's very well known in Spain, who plays the mother. The scene where everybody is in the pool, and she had to come, through them. And in the first takes, they will go, "Oh, it's Carmen Machi," and they will open a path like it was the Red Sea. It's like, no.
I see. No, please. Yeah.
Please.
You're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And obviously, in terms of that, the film does deal with a lot of complex scenarios and issues. I mean, just from my point of view, there's including adolescence, body image, anger, violence, also like mob mentality as well at times. Was the experience of bringing all of that to the screen particularly difficult?
I think it was very intense for the actors. Yes, we did a lot of rehearsals, so we knew exactly. We didn't rehearse the scenes per se. We rehearsed the situations, and we rehearsed the characters and the journeys. Everybody knew exactly who they were and how they will walk and how they will react in different circumstances. But of course, it was really hard. It was really hard, especially the pool scene, I'd say, and also the bridge, and of course the ending. But the bridge and the pool scenes were really intense. We created a very strong community within the actors, when there was a lot of sense that we were almost like a family. I mean, I know Laura for a long time because we worked together in the short, but the rest were people who were new to us. But we tried to create a safe space where everybody was safe, but at the same time it was really intense. And I would say that sometimes for the girls, and for the girls it was harder than it was for Laura. And in the pools, and I can say that it's not something I feel proud of, but it was so intense, and they gave so much on themselves. There was not a single actor that didn't cry in the movie after we said cut.
Wow.
And it's like, and we used to, yeah, it was, but at the same time we had a lot of fun as well, and we're all staying. You're all staying in the same village, in a very small village, and you dine together, and you go and have drinks together day after day after day. It's almost like summer camp, but not in a way of Friday the 13th, in a happier sense.
Maybe slightly. No.
Yeah, but it was intense, but at the same time we laughed a lot. We did laugh a lot, yeah, as well.
I mean, I can, when you say Laura's performance, obviously there was a lot that went into it. It was very intimate performance, very gutsy. Like, it's at times like heart-wrenching to kind of witness some of these things. I mean, how did you manage to, I know you've obviously talked about practicing a lot of the scenes, rehearsing a lot of the scenes. How did you like guide this portrayal of the character? And was there like a particular emotion that you really, really wanted to get across and focus on?
Well, we did. It's like we did an emotional journey of the story, and for the screenplay is not written in a normal way, in a sense that it's they say that you shouldn't really write what the character is thinking. But for me, the screenplay is the inner voice of Sara. So it's not only the dialogue, that is not only the action you'll see on the screen, but what he's thinking as well. Yeah, so you see yeah. So it's the emotional journey. So that we did was we just constructed that emotional journey. So we knew exactly each scene had what is going on in the scene. For me, it's very, very important. And when you see the movie, and Laura is such a great actress.
Mm.
so nuanced and so delicate and so precise. And she barely speaks, but she knew exactly in each scene what we were trying to tell in the scene. So I try to be very clear. I mean, you find stuff, you try new stuff, but it was a very clear emotional journey, and we had to portray it visually through her acting and through the camera movements and the way it's set. But we all talked a lot with the DOP, with the sound design, even the script supervisor. Everybody knew exactly, and the set designer, of course, what its scene tell of her journey. So we could have made a real mistake because because we were following this straight line. I mean, we knew exactly what we were saying, and maybe but we tried to be very clear in each conversations of what we were trying to say that. And so we would, and in that way, I think that it's just great that you have an intelligent and talented actress as Laura, who is able to do all that, because it's not easy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was achieved. Because the thing that kind of kept me so captivated with the film was constantly thinking, what is this character thinking? What's going on in her mind? Is she gonna do A, B, or C? How is this gonna pan out? And that kind of kept me really invested in the character's story. So I think that was really, really well done. The last thing I'll sort of mention on, I guess, the events of the film and everything like that is, were any of these based on any real life events or people that perhaps inspired the plot of the film?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the beginning of the short is because I saw this girl in the swimming pool, and she was all by herself, and I started thinking, why is she here? And also I've been to a lot of schools when I was a teenager, and when I was a kid as well, many schools. More than 5, I think, or 6. I cannot even remember. And I've seen a lot of bullying. I've experienced a lot of bullying myself. I witnessed bullying being quiet, and which made me feel very sick. And I also standed against this bullying. So, I'm not scared of people. I'm not scared of girls. I'm scared of people. So some things that I've seen, of course, not the bullying in the pool itself or the thing in the road, but things that are quite similar to that. And all of the people in the film, like the father, the mother, and the neighbors, is people I know. And the girls, actually, the bullying, the girls of the squad, it's just people I know. It's people I know. Maybe not one people I know, just a mixture of different people I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Because there are a lot of complex relationships, especially with the parents, and I mentioned obviously the mob mentality, especially when the neighbors come into it and accusations begin to fly. But yeah, I think the bullying is that real life horror, the thing that is always so effective. And you've already mentioned Stephen King, but in all of Stephen King's movies, when the bullying scenes happen, those are the ones that make the knot in your stomach grows.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like that with this. The scenes that affected me the most in your movie were the bullying scenes, not necessarily the scenes where they're not actual violence, but the with the villain character. Well, I say villain character, a very complex and a very complex and interesting, conflicting character. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was more interesting to make a movie where the most violent things is not something that the killer does.
Yeah. And again, that definitely came across. So I guess in terms of the screening at FrightFest, I know it hasn't happened yet. It is happening tomorrow. This probably will go out live. This will go out on our platforms before your screening, so we'll still say tomorrow, and that still makes sense.
Okay, great. So come see it.
Yes, come see it. It's tomorrow, and what time is it again?
I think it's 10:45. One of the screens is 10:45 or 10 something. Yes.
We'll put it in the show.
I remember in times.
I will. I'll put that in the show notes anyway. The link to the screening, of course. So how does the screening of this? Well, it hasn't happened at FrightFest, but does the screening happen at Sundance differ from screening it at a horror specific film festival? Would you say?
Well, actually, I hope. Well, the horror crew is always more intense and more fun, and they leave movies better. I don't know. I think they're the best, basically. And
Mm.
also, I never been to Sundance because it was online due to Omicron. So I just got the reactions for the people who saw
Oh,
it.
of course.
Yeah, the people who wrote to me after they've seen it. So actually, I've only seen this movie with a live audience once in Croatia, because the movie
Oh,
has
okay.
traveled a lot, but I haven't been able because I was working.
Mm.
So I haven't been able to travel with the film. This is my second film festival that I attend, even though it's played quite a lot.
Mm.
But in Croatia was great, but it's also it's a festival that is a mixed crowd, and there was a lot of old people in the audience.
I
And it
see.
was so much, yeah. I thought, oh my god, they're gonna have a heart attack, and they were so much. They were screaming, and oh my god, they laughed a lot as well. But it was very weird.
You must be looking forward to seeing it with a horror audience then, because
Yeah, I know. I don't know if people talked a lot here in FrightFest. I know that in Spain, in the horror festival, people talked a lot when the movie is playing. Like,
oh,
hey, and the
okay.
scream at
Oh,
the
wow.
scream at the holler
I
and
don't
everything.
I
They
don't
don't do
know
it
about
here.
that. I feel like British
Okay.
audiences are going to be very quiet. You're not going to know what. There might be some gasps. There probably, obviously, there'll be the round of applause at the end, but I don't know about talking through it. That's probably
That's
frowned
good.
upon.
That's good. Yeah,
Quiet down, quiet down at front. Uh, so obviously, Spanish language horror films, they've been like ever present. They've often like led the way during various waves of the genre. I'm thinking like found footage, ghost stories, and some like
Mhm.
unconventional scares. Where do you expect Spanish language horror to take audiences next? Are there any predictions that you've got?
I think there's a fantastic horror coming from Spain, and especially there's a lot of new voices in the short film circuit. And you see people like Javier Tabanel, who's brilliant, and many different voices that are coming out. They're just great, and I just hope we make a lot of horror in Spain, and we're able to make like this kind of horror Hollywood in the south
Yes.
of Europe.
Yes. I'm definitely up for that. That sounds wonderful. So, Carlota, what are you currently working on? Well, currently or next? You did mention your next feature. I mean, I don't know how
Mhm.
much you can talk about that, but I will
There's
ask
not
her
much
anyway.
I can say, but I'm because we only have a working title, but I'm gonna start. Well, I'm actually in pre-production right now. This
Okay.
is kind of an escape from that, and I'll start shooting in the 24th of October, and it's horror, and it's gonna be shot in the Basque Country, up north.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Horror again then. I'm
Yeah.
very excited to see that has involved.
Mhm.
Great. So, where can our listeners find more from you or keep up to date with your new projects online?
I guess the best thing would be to follow me on Twitter because I'm quite annoying promoting my stuff.
Oh.
And yeah,
Yep. That's what we got to go for.
and there's some stuff online. My shorts, I think some of them are online, but I think Piggy, the short is available on Alter in YouTube.
Hmm.
But yeah, follow me on Twitter, and you'll end up unfollowing me after a couple of months. Say, okay, stop promoting.
That's how you've got to sell your Twitter. Just say you'll probably unfollow me in a while. I'll put all of the links to everything like that in the show notes. As we've already mentioned, Piggy has its UK premiere at Fright Fest. So this episode is going to go live. So today's Sunday, the 28th of August. Has its premiere on Monday, the 29th of August. We think at 10:45, but I will double check and put that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Carlota. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a 5-star rating or review. Head over to the Facebook group Horror Hangout Board of Advisors for more. Thank you so much for joining us, Carlota, and enjoy the screening of your movie.
Thank you.
Only the second time with a live audience, with a Fright Fest audience as well. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Best of luck. Enjoy yourself, and keep making amazing horror films.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.